Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for listening to Soundcheck. This is Brent.
And this is Walter. And today's episode, we're actually going to talk about Cradle of Filth. I was there. Brent wasn't there, so everything I'm just going to be telling you guys will be from my perspective and my experience. The show was awesome. I had a great time. Actually, it was pretty packed.
What was the venue?
Oh, it was at Baltimore Soundstage. Oh, it was a Tuesday night, I believe. It was pretty well organized. Baltimore Soundstage has their ticket process in check, and it's fairly quick to get in. It didn't take too long to get in there. And this was kind of first for me because I've never been to like a goth show or with a band with a cult following of like that genre of metal. So like seeing everybody in kind of like goth attire, like all black, kind of ritualistic, and like jewelry with like Baphomet on it,
Studs and dark makeup,
and like black and red hair dye, like split down the middle, which was kind of tight. And I was the only one with like a purple shirt. I'd like the only one that could probably stand out in the crowd.
Only thing with color.
The only person with color. The show itself, like the production was awesome. The sound wasn't as great as I thought it would be. Everything was super muddy, in my personal opinion. Danny Filth kind of like has a 5-octave range that like cuts like a mother effer. It cuts like really well. Yeah, they put on a great performance. Their attire was awesome, like really, I could say medieval like attire. I don't even know how to describe it, but like I really like Danny's outfit. Crowd there was super responsive. Like I forgot the album they were playing, but like a lot of people knew the lyrics by heart, and it was really tight. Also, damn. Sorry guys, I'm actually kind of driving while this is going on.
Yeah, we're it's October 12th and we're on our way to Ottobar to actually see Bent Knee. The opener tonight is what, like Greet Death?
Yeah,
Greet Death, and then Bent Knee, who we're mostly going for, we've seen before, and then the headliner is
The world is a beautiful place, and I am no longer afraid to die, which I think is a ridiculously long name for a band. Like, come on. The world is a beautiful place. Would be great.
Yeah, never heard of them before. I'm definitely here just for Bent Knee. And then Walter saw Cradle of Filth recently. Who were the openers for Cradle of Filth? Did you happen to see any?
Oh, yeah. So I was there for the whole show. The first band was this one band called Once Human. I believe they're from Australia. They're great. They're guitarists. I don't even know their name, to be honest. Like, the guitarist's name, but he was killing it. Like great melodic phrasing, leads, like lead tone is super crisp, wasn't overbearing, and their sound actually wasn't muddy at all, which I was actually really surprised that they kind of had a better sound than the headliner act. Yeah, I believe not that many people were there for them, like as far as opening, like the crowd started like filling up towards the second band, which was Three Teeth, which the way I was describing it to Brent was, if you are into some kinky metal, kinkcore, I guess, kinkcore, don't do that. Yeah, it was just super dark. I don't know, it's just like BDSM. If BDSM had their own genre of music, that's the way I could describe it, but it just sounded like heavily influenced from like Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. I mean, the light show was great. It was dark, almost sadistic in a way.
I've heard the name before, but I've never actually listened to anything by them.
That was my first time listening to them, and it was bizarre for me just because I was not ready for the kink. Actually, what I really like the most was like the third or fourth song, which was an instrumental song. It was mostly for the light show, where the singer himself said it was like things are about to get really dark, and then like a lot of noise started happening from the guitar end, and like just like drums just like crashing in. It just sounded like the whole world is going to hell. The light show was very stroby, and then out of nowhere it went pitch black, and then like black and red to build up for what the singer was about to do. And then once the singer finally got on stage, he was wearing like a mask, like a goat's mask with a horn, kind of like crouching, kind of like not mocking the crowd, but like kind of interacting with the crowd. And it was kind of cool. I actually was really interested in that, because like you don't really see many bands like put on an act like while they're performing. Most of them just kind of play their music and then call it a day.
That's cool. Yeah, I always dig that when there's like some, even though it can be kind of corny, I always appreciate when there's some theatrics, or they're like almost trying to convey a narrative on stage as well.
Their narrative was like, let's have sex. Very, very dark sex.
But yeah, that sounded cool. You said with like the light strobe and the cymbals crashing, like a real like thunderous sound with being instrumental.
Yeah, like the drums itself felt like it had like some fuzz attaching to sound. It sounded very distorted to kind of add to that noise, that drone that they were doing. And I thought it fit really well. But so when Cradle of Filth was playing, I noticed that Danny gets really, really excited, and it kind of makes me laugh a little bit. But like like I'm glad he's doing it, because I still want him to keep doing it. Like he's very short. He's like 5 foot something, 5'5" maybe, and like when he gets really excited about a part, he kind of like jumps like a little kid with like his mouth all grinning, and like jumps up and down, like, but it's very small hops, up and down, and like just looking at the crowd. And then he does his whole scream thing. Made me laugh a little bit, but like I don't want him to stop doing it. Like I liked what he did.
That's fun. Yeah, it's always nice to see when people are like genuinely into it and enjoying it.
They did play like 3 songs that when I was getting into them, like Amphetamine Fix, Desires of Violent Overture, and I forget the third one, but like I remember listening to it. I think it was like track number 4 or 5 off their new album that I really got into, kind of changing their sound, making it a bit more modern, less operatic. But the album hasn't come out yet, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I can't wait till it comes out.
I've never really listened to them, but it is wild that I remember even like back when I was in high school and just getting into metal, that they were still like such a large name and that they've still been a presence all this time.
Oh, dude, all the goth kids were like, you listen to Cradle of Filth? That's some heavy stuff right there, I tell you what. And then I kind of like look at them a little bit. It's like, it's not that heavy. It's not that heavy. It is kind of heavy. I mean, like their shirts, I was looking at their merch. I was contemplating buying a shirt, and I couldn't. It was too edgy for my taste. Like they had a shirt where in the back, the lettering was Jesus is a. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna wear that anywhere.
Oh, are they the group that did that? I remember there was like such a controversy about it, but I forgot it was them that did that.
Yeah, it was them, and like I had no idea that was a controversy actually.
Yeah, I think it's like banned in some countries.
If I knew that, I would have totally bought it. It's like, fuck that. If it's banned somewhere, I'm gonna buy it. They can't have it, I can. I should have bought it. Now I regret my decision not buying it. You know what? It's not edgy enough. It should be banned in the States. But no, their show was awesome. Their light show was great. My only complaint was the sound was a little muddy. Oh yeah, I guess we can't really talk about the other shows yet.
Yeah, we have a bunch of concerts and shows that we saw back to back, mostly separate from each other. And then I had a period of time where I got sick with a cold. So yeah, we got to get together and record and get a bunch of stuff out to you. But yeah, we definitely have a lot of great albums that have come out recently we got to talk about, and then a bunch of shows.
The listens that we've been, I guess the music that we've been listening to lately has just kind of been really, really tight. I mean, I have no complaints. Like,
did you have anything else for Cradle of Filth?
Just this drunk guy. This drunk guy was kind of like, while I was in the pit, so prior to me being in the pit, being near the pit, I couldn't really go in just because I have a sprained ankle, or had. Yeah, by the time this comes out, I would have had a sprained ankle. But there's this drunk guy that's kind of kept leaning back towards me, and I was getting really annoyed from it. I didn't want to get out of the way because I still wanted to actually see the show. But like this drunk guy kept like leaning back towards me. Eventually I had to push him in the pit. But that was like my only complaint. As far as like the crowd was like a good 9 out of 10. Everyone was super genuine. Yeah.
Yeah, as for the muddiness in the mix, Soundstage can be 50-50 like that. It kind of depends on the band, and I guess I don't know, whatever the
it really does depend on their sound engineer too.
Definitely, because like anytime I've seen Era at Soundstage, it's like crystal clear.
Oh, dude, it's so sick. Like big metal bands like that, their sound engineers usually are on point. They know how to work with a room like that, but not everyone has their days, and they had to switch venues all the time, so like getting a great sound at every venue is tough.
Yeah, they can definitely make it or break it.
The overall show, I can definitely give that show a solid like 7.3 out of 10. I'm glad I saw them, but like I'm not an avid listener, so I don't think I'd really go see them again unless like the opportunity came up, like the specific situation where my friend had an extra ticket for me to go.
And then you can pick up that controversial merch.
Oh, dude, yeah. I feel like I'd pay the ticket just to go get the shirt and then leave.
Shock grandma at Christmas.
Leave it by her gravestone. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for the Cradle of Filth show.
All right, then yeah, we'll stay tuned and we'll talk about and review this Bent Knee concert. Definitely looking forward to it. I think this is maybe the third time we've seen them. I heard that they recently changed labels. They went from Inside Out Music and actually have switched to a smaller label called...
Give me a cigarette, eh?
Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. We're professionals. Anyway, stay tuned. And we're back. We just got out of the show with Bent Knee. It was fun shit.
Oh, dude, it was fucking awesome. Like, the first band, Greet Death, was tight. Really nice energy. Super, super high indie vibes. Super chill. They did a cover of, what's that one song?
Blink-182's I Miss You.
Yeah, that was really nice and well executed. And then Bent Knee came on. They opened up with their second track off of Shiny Eyed Babies. And,
Way Too Long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and as soon as I heard, like, just the drum intro, I was like, I know what's going on. I cannot wait to hear Courtney Love. Edit that out. Edit that out. Courtney's voice. Couldn't wait to hear her voice, like, on the mic.
Yeah, Way Too Long used to be a finisher of theirs, because it's pretty bang and it's pretty heavy. Oh, and by the way, should have mentioned sooner, our first guest appearance, we got Christian in the back.
Hey everybody, this is Christian. Longtime friends with Walter and Brent, and a little bit of a jazz purist, but enjoying some of the metal scene, the punk rock scene, and all things soundtrack. So it's groovy and it's great. Good vibes all the way.
Yeet. Yeah, the first band was this group hadn't heard of called Greet Death. They had a 30-minute set. Oh, from Michigan. Not being familiar with their sound, I kind of thought they were like emo with a splash of post-rock. Like their vocal delivery was kind of somber, and they'd have these long instrumental passages that would kind of like build up to these bombastic moments. They were cool.
Big vocabulary right there.
Yeah, you know, I try to study up on Anthony Fantano and like learn some shit.
Yeah, so my first impression of them was I saw the lead guitarist wearing a Blink-182 shirt, and as I was walking to the crowd, I noticed that, and then all of a sudden they went into the chorus of Miss You by Blink-182. But I don't know if it was like the alcohol or just kind of getting into the vibe, but like I kind of realized like maybe 15 minutes later, was like, I don't think they covered that song exactly, because there was only like the chorus, which was really, really well done, but then like I didn't necessarily hear the rest of the song. And then towards the end of their set, I was asking Brent, like, is this shoegaze? Because it just kind of felt like that kind of vibe, like when it's like 11 o'clock at night and like you're listening to music, but your brain is just like super exhausted, but you're like in kind of like a feel good, like melancholy. And it felt really nice, honestly. I thought they had a great sound, so it was really cool to jam out with them.
Yeah, I was thrown off by that too. They started with the chorus of I Miss You, but then it just sort of like naturally blended into, I guess it was like an original song of theirs. It was interesting.
What I think is that they just covered they did their own rendition of "I Miss You," Blink 182, and I think they just did their own interpretation of like what they sound like in general, and just used that as like a skeleton for their sound.
Yeah, like a launch point. That's super cool. Yeah, I always I can't remember if I've said this before, but I always feel like cover songs are such a difficult thing to balance because you either have to be like better than the original artist or wholly make it your own. And I think they kind of went with the latter approach of doing their own rendition with it. And then after them, Bent Knee had a 45-minute set, and I lost my mind to them. Like it sounds dumb to say, but like I forgot how much I liked them. I guess because I didn't really listen to them much since the last time we saw them at Ottobar with Thank You Scientist for the Afterburner tour. But it was so much fun. I was dancing, having a great time to it. They just and their newest single, which I kind of liked when I listened to it on YouTube, but I really vibed with it live this time. And I mean, they're just super tight, solid.
Ben Levin, I said this in the concert, but I love you. On a real note, like their albums don't really do them justice live. Like you really do have to see them live, just because like when they started off with Way Too Long, they do play with their sounds a lot, and I do appreciate that because like on the album it doesn't really have that much of a doesn't have that much reverb on it, but like live they decided to like amp up the reverb and delay on it, so it kind of made it sound way more I don't know how to say, like boomy, not quite boomy, but like not roomy either, but like
had a larger presence.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Did have a larger presence into their music, and I love how they delayed the snare. That was really tight.
Yeah, Courtney Swain definitely did a lot of like effects with her. Definitely did some like modulation and effects with her vocals. I can't remember if this is the second or third time we've seen them. This was Christian's first time seeing them.
Yeah. So I was saying to Brent earlier about how the final band, which we only stayed for maybe one or two songs, the name was similar to the title of an album by Explosions in the Sky, and I've been sort of on the periphery with listening to them for about 10 years. And one of my favorite albums by them is The Earth Is Not a Cold, Dark Place Because You're Here. And so that the album of that name, the name of that album is similar to the last band. But in any effect, the vocalist, Courtney, had like some really cool delays to her voice. And it was very similar to like some of the guitar effects that I've noted from the band that I just mentioned earlier. So it was very kind of ethereal and super kind of like siren song-esque and super like long tone and drawn out, and you kind of felt like you were like drowning in the emotion in like a very beautiful way. So it was really cool to experience that and be in the crowd for that. I felt like the crowd, especially Brent, I mean, just as a witness here, as someone who, saw them for the first time, as Brent said, he forgot how much he loved them. I mean, this guy was in total catharsis, just like head banging and moving his body. I felt like there was a cool, loose vibe around with everybody who was just kind of like feeling the music, and it was really comfortable all around.
Yeah, you took the word right from my mouth. I was going to say Courtney definitely has like ethereal aura to her vocals. Yeah, it was super fun. I normally am introverted, but man, get me in a music venue with a favorite band, and I don't give a shit who's around, who's watching me. But yeah, I wasn't familiar with this headliner, but when I heard their name, I definitely kind of thought of that too with Explosions in the Skies. The headliner was The World Is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die.
Too long of a name for a band. It's insane. Like, I can't tell you. Would rather just call it This World Is a Beautiful Place, and that's it.
Even if you try to break it down into like an acronym, TWBPINLA. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't stick around for the whole set. I don't know.
We have jobs.
Yeah, maybe about half of it or so. Yeah, we're old. We got to get home and get to a good bedtime. It's a Tuesday night out here.
Especially driving in Baltimore, like it's actually not too bad from the Ottobar going home. It's kind of a straight shot, but like, but what I wanted to do earlier before we went to go see Bent Knee is if anyone wants to have like any like pre-gaming or tacos, pretty specifically. Specifically tacos. There's this restaurant called Clavel. It's literally like maybe a block or two away from the Ottobar. Fantastic tequila, fantastic tacos. Like, I really wanted to go there, but we didn't have the time for it, unfortunately. But that's a place you guys should totally check out, is Clavel in Baltimore.
Yeah, how is it pronounced? Poke?
It is. So yeah. Okay, we had poke earlier. We had poke. It was delicious. Yeah. So I mean, it's basically kind of like it has rice. It's basically rice and raw fish is like the base standard with like some onions and like some scallions and soy sauce. That's basically your poke. But like we had poke from this place called Blowfish Poke, and like I really enjoyed their poke a lot actually. Like I kind of like prefer that over most meals.
Yeah, it was my first time having it. It was good stuff. Yeah, that was my first time back at Ottobar post-pandemic.
Pretty well as far as like entering the venue. Like all you really got to do is check your have them check your ID and your Vax card, and at the same time they kind of confirm that you're over 21 with a wristband, and then you're in, and then you show them your tickets, and that's it.
Yeah, it was quick getting in, and then they and like I just brought a picture of my Vax card on my phone. They accepted that. That seems to be the go-to with venues now. I think it started like at the start of October. All the venues in this area are requiring masks and proof of vaccination or negative test results.
It's really not that bad, to be honest. Like just show up with your Vax card, your results, and you're in.
No, it's great. Again, I brought my Vax card and a mask, and people seem to be very respectful inside as far as like following those rules. The bar had plenty of signs about saying, take a sip and put your mask back on. And I don't think anybody was trying to be like a dick about, like, oh, I'm not going to wear my mask or whatever. And like, really, by the time you get into the vibe and everything, like it's no big deal. So I was really thankful that like the community as a whole was like totally respectful and compliant and willing to, be considerate of the safety of others.
Yeah, each show we've been to so far definitely has had like a good mood to it. Like people are definitely excited to be back at shows again, and it shows.
Show was fantastic. I'll definitely give that show with Ben Nee carrying like the weight of like of my attention. I would give that like a 7.6. I would definitely see a show if it was just them again, like headlining. Supporting band Greet Death was great. But I was, not familiar with their stuff. First time hearing them, and then The World Is a Beautiful Place, great band. Didn't really stick around for their set, but my main attention was focused towards Ben Nee, so they carried the weight of like my decision of what I give the rating.
7.6 sounds pretty cozy to me too, with emphasis on Ben Nee set being what I was there for, and yeah, I mean just continuing on, Ben Nee just waiting for the time where they sort of like, or at least I feel like break through. Like they're just they've continually been exceptional, tight live performances and pretty dynamic and varied songs and song structures throughout their albums.
Yeah, so just real quick, shout out to Greet Death. It's super hard as a musician to be an opening band. And one thing that they did really well was they did not suck. And what's so great about that is like the whole crowd stuck around. Like, yeah, we all kind of like went to the bar briefly to get a drink, and maybe the venue's pretty forgiving in the sense that like the distance from like where the crowd stands to where the bar is was pretty close. So like no one necessarily like drifted away too much, but like it's super important as an opening band to like be like impressive and fun and cool enough to where everybody wants to like kind of stick around, and like they're interested enough in maybe a band that they quote unquote didn't necessarily come for. And then we were all sticking around for Ben Nee, obviously, and shout out to the bass player. I guess I learned that the bass player and the lead guitarist are married. It was interesting, like one of the songs they were like just going in, and like their body language was like so matched. And that's the thing, like they were talking about that was their first show since the pandemic, and shout out to Ben Nee because like the way that they were like rehearsed and put together, and like there were just no mistakes, and everything was like super tight, and it was a cool vibe, and like everyone was loose. It was just a great show all around. So props to Ben Nee. It was really, really fun to see them. and of course to The World Is a Beautiful Place. Obviously, we left a little bit early, but no disrespect to them whatsoever. Seemed to continue the vibe, and I'd say overall the crowd at Ottobar was like super chill, and everybody seemed to be like pleasant and cheery and get alongy, and that was fun. That's important as far as music is concerned. Like I said earlier, like I'm a bit of a jazz musician, funk musician, but what's so cool is that like regardless of what music you like, one thing I like going to see artists or musicians that I'm not necessarily quote unquote into is that you can see that music has that transcendent quality of like bringing people together, and as someone who I feel like I'm maybe on the periphery of some of that scene, like it's cool that even myself can connect to like people who are like super devoted and super like fan based, and that just warms my heart. So I'm really thankful to have been a part of it, and obviously very grateful to Walter and Brent for being able to be with them and contribute to the podcast as well. So thank you guys.
Right on. Music, the universal language. Yeah, I forgot to mention that this was the first night of the tour.
I thought they had a pretty good turnout for a Tuesday night.
Greet Death definitely did launch the energy of the night. Like when they started, I thought, oh, okay, this is cool. It's going to be kind of a sleepy, chill energy. But then they really brought the energy and, like I said, had some bombastic moments. Yeah, it was a very fun show. Yeah, thank you all for listening. This was Soundcheck. I'm Brent.
I'm Walter.
I'm Christian.
Have a good night, fellas. Or fellas. Have a good night.
Have a good night. See ya.